wide outdoors to the great indoors, this is Without Bias with Jack Hebron and Barry Lester.
Yeah, great to have your company here on Without Bias, right around Australia each and every single weekend. Big thanks to all of our guests so far, but certainly now looking forward to talking about one of the great stories of the Australian Open. We spoke about it off the top of the show, and for many of our listeners, they may have heard this young man on a few different radio shows or TV interviews or news interviews during the week. He has captured the hearts and the imagination of the country. I speak, of course, of Jono Davis, the 12-year-old from Dubbo, who on his birthday won the under-18 title at the Australian Open. And Jono, well, you've been on everyone else's show, mate. We thought that you should have a chat to us on our show. Good morning, and thanks for joining us.
Yeah, good morning. Yeah, it was pretty good. I won the Australian Open on my birthday. It was a pretty good present, and I played pretty well.
Now, when you woke up on the day and thought to yourself, okay, it's my birthday today, for most 12-year-olds that's pretty exciting, but did you, I guess, in your wildest dreams think that your 12th birthday would culminate in an Australian Open success?
No, I didn't think that would happen, but it was a pretty good feeling when I won it because it was on my birthday, and yeah.
Hey, mate, that's sensational. Now, take me back a little bit to, as I said, you're from Dubbo. How did you get started in the sport originally?
Well, my dad went down to the bowling club and asked if he could have a game, so I went down there with him and had a roll up with him, and I started rolling the jack. And,
oh, yeah?
I got a bit bored of that. So I asked my dad if I could have a go at a bowl, and he said, yeah, sure. And then I had a bowl and I liked it, so I got on from there, and I've come further and further, and now I've won the Australian Open, so it's pretty good.
Now, the rest is history, as they say. Now, are you playing pennant at the moment against the adults?
Yeah, I am. We haven't actually started our pennants yet. We start in a few weeks, but yeah, I am.
No, there's something to look forward to. Now, you mentioned your dad, and you played with your dad to start with, Jono. Can you actually beat him? When's the last time you played him in a match, and have you beaten him?
I played him when I was about 8, and he beat me in the singles game 31-24, but I've never played him since then.
Yeah, you remember that score pretty well too, don't you? 31-24. I think have you challenged him? I think it might be time to challenge him now to a game, to be honest, mate.
Yeah, I think I'll have to soon, so yeah.
You're in good form. Now, I want to ask you, obviously, the Australian Open is such a wonderful event. You're out at Darebin, and there's all the big names floating around everywhere. There's TVs. There's so many different competitions going on the greens. Was it a bit to take in for you to start with? Did it just take a little bit of time for you to get your head around what was actually happening?
Yeah, it took a bit of time to see what was happening. Darebin's a pretty good bowling club. It's plenty of stuff there. It's got plenty of facilities, and yeah, it's pretty big. So there was all the big names around, and yeah. Pretty good. There
was plenty of big names. One day that might be you on the TV that we're seeing there, rather than your Karen Murphys and your Kelsey Cottrells and whatnot. Playing against the bigger kids, is it a little bit of a concern for you at times? I reckon that there's probably some of the kids, Jono, that would just turn up and say, oh, I think I've got this one covered. He's only 12 years old. But do they try and intimidate you at all?
Some do, some don't. But, yeah, I just take it on the chin and see what happens.
Yeah, you sound like you're the sort of knockabout sort of young fellow. We're talking to Jono Davis, the 12-year-old from Dubbo, who walked away with success in the under-18s at the Australian Open. You played against Ben Fern in the final, Jono, who's a local boy. He's from Melbourne Metropolitan, so a little bit of a home deck advantage for him. But going into the final, were you a little bit nervous?
No, I wasn't actually that nervous. I was surprised, but yeah, Ben, he didn't play as well as he did, but I played pretty well throughout the tournament, and yeah.
Have you taken the medal to school? I know that obviously you get a nice shiny medal that you can show off to everyone, and no doubt it'll be pride of place in the Davis home in Dubbo. But have you taken it to school and just had a little bit of a brag?
No, I haven't actually taken it to school. I've only told them my mates about it. So.
Well, Jono, I reckon it might be time to just starting to spread that around, mate, that you're the Australian Open champion. Get it out there. Let people know about it.
Yeah, I will.
Now, what does the future look like for you? 12 years old at the moment. When you were at the Australian Open, a lot of the big names were out early on the men's side of the draw, but did you get a chance to spend some time and watch some of those players play? And I guess my second part of the question, who are your favourite players at the moment?
I saw some of the big names. I saw Calvin Kirko play. I saw Kelsey Cottrell and all them sort of people play, so it was pretty good. And probably my favourite player is probably Aaron Sheriff.
Yeah, he's going nicely at the moment. Aaron Sheriff, he's a star. Barry Lester, my co-host on the show as well, is a big fan of Aaron Sheriff's work. Is this sort of something, Jono, that you can see yourself? I know you're only 12 years old, but is this something that you can see playing for a long time, the sport of bowls?
Yeah, 'cause you can play for as many years as you want, I suppose. So, yeah, I'd hope to play for Australia in a few years yet. But, yeah, play for Australia.
Commonwealth Games, you never know. There's one in Glasgow that might be just a little bit ahead of you, but if I'm right, the next one's in the Gold Coast. So that might be a pretty cool little trip up to the Gold Coast if you can stay involved in the sport. Jono, but before we let you go, do you play any other sports at the moment?
Yeah, I play rugby league.
Yep.
And, yeah, that's about all.
Well, hopefully you can just stay with bowls. You can play rugby league as well, mate, but hopefully your success is just the start of many things to come. Thanks so much for joining us on the show. As we said, you've been a very, very busy boy this week. A lot of people have wanted to talk to you, which is fantastic. Congratulations on your achievement, and we will be following your progress with a great amount of interest. And best of luck, Jono.
Thank you.
Jono Davis, what an absolute superstar this youngster is going to be, Baz. I am really looking forward to following his progress, no doubt. I think he's got a major future as far as this sport is concerned. We're going to take our final break here on Without Bias, and on the other side, we're going to answer a couple of questions off Twitter. A few people are interested to know what is going on in the world of bowls over the next 3 to 6 weeks, and even by extension a little bit further. We're going to talk about that. And Baz, you've got a very, very big tournament that you're taking part in next week. That's all still to come here on Without Bias.